Indeed, and we are actually going live here, so that's exciting.
I mean, starting of a Highlander game is always exciting. Gets me going.
No, for sure, and we'll see if we get anything funky. You think that the steel meta has changed at all recently?
No, I think Steel has been a map which, funnily enough, for a map that has many different strats, the Steel meta stayed very, very much the same. No one ever defends A. I played against it. Last time I remember a team defending A was like 5-6 years ago or something. Like, nobody defends A. Like, it's just pointless. Everyone defends B. Everyone defends with a very, very similar setup. You take a look at the defense right now on Bank Heist. You see Sun has got his level 3 sentry, you know, really aggressive on this platform. There is a dispenser on the floor where the medic can hide inside. The demo and the pyro are going to watch down this choke. The sniper's going to try and get some snipes, and there's a teleporter up in a little shack at the top. That's going to allow Catman, the heavy, to be able to get up to the high ground, which is where he's going to want to be. So this is how you set up on defense, and of course the flank is going to just watch. Teams either like to just go for the B push, or they like to go for the A. You know, you like to have both of those in your locker, so it'll be interesting to see what inVision decide to do out of the blocks as they're attacking first. But, you know, sometimes it's nice to put some pressure on straight away and get that kind of simultaneous cap going down.
It looks like that was where the pause was. Skedis rejoining on the pyro. And, yeah, things just kind of progressing right now. Looks like they will pull back. We'll kind of switch over to that typical B push, as you mentioned. And actually, there goes Skedis getting stabbed down by Chuper there. So, no pyro. Uka gonna bonk in here. Something we don't necessarily see a lot of.
Yeah, bonk is an interesting strat. I mean, it used to be used a lot in the early days when it came out. As Layla goes down, a headshot from Sting, and taking down the Polish counterpart there, and the Uber just comes in, and that's just huge. Stinger's dropped me on this map before. Maybe that's not a big deal, but I mean, he's very good sniping. He's so good, and Dito just cleaning up there.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's an easy B push.
Yeah, I was going to shout out Wiethoofd once we had a second there, because he certainly came flying in with a lot of damage. And Bank Heist right now, seemingly having problems with a getaway vehicle, getting kind of stomped on all of these defensive pushes, or defensive holds, excuse me. Right now, though, this is another kind of interesting transitional period of this map. We'll see if we can get a hold going on C. There are kind of some players set up. Skedis will kind of protect against Chuper. They're kind of set up on this balcony area, and some E pressure, though, might end up drawing them back.
This is really well played by Duo and Uka. Uka is getting the cap down on E, and Duo just destroys the setup from Sun in the Heaven area on E. There was no sentry, no NG, and he's just absolutely destroyed it. Meanwhile, Dito's going huge on C, takes down Layla. He's on a 5-kill streak right now.
Jorge, though, tossed into the point, though, by Skedis. So, yeah, this
saving grace, but this is not looking good next time.
No, not at all. The heavy weapons guy down low as well. Just to kind of like add another layer to this hold that you're talking about. And they're actually getting cap pressure on C as well, so it's not even an all-in on this E point. Dreamy on the side, trying to distract from behind on the scout. Soldier's trying to bomb in here. He's actually going to go down all the way to the bottom of the pit. And looks like this E push is actually going to go down extremely fast. First time here by the inVision.
That is so crisp and clean, it's unbelievable. Like, you can just use that again. You don't need to wash it, man. That was just so clean. It was, the thing is, when you drop, the thing is on Steel, and this is the big issue I have with Steel, if you make a mistake, like Layla does on the first one, she gets dropped, so you're constantly on the back foot from that. You need to play around the fact that now you're at an Uber disadvantage. You need to force Uber. They do get the Uber force on B. inVision had to use the Uber. Jorge uses Uber as they come in onto the B point in order to get the cap, so they should have known that, hey, we're behind in the Uber stakes, but we're not that far behind. However, they're in a position on C where they get caught out by the Uber, and that's the point where you think you've made 2 mistakes. That's GG. You might as well sit and spawn now because you're not going to get out. And inVision played that so well. Like, the cap went down fairly quickly, but that's only because Utka and Duo had total control of E the entire time. The flank of Bank Heist didn't really seem to be able to contest it at all during that map.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough look for him here. You know, you still kind of feel like, you know, the fact that they got through B, obviously, and into that C hallway really opened up that offense. So there's some desperation here, but you can't just push from A to E. That's not really how this map works. It's always kind of a possibility. It's always kind of a threat. But if it's super telegraphed and they just go for it here, it's not going to end well for them, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, you do look at the time and you think, it takes at least 40 seconds to get that E-cap down. They have their medic gear now, so there isn't actually a spy on A, so they won't know it just yet. Utker is probably trying to get some info, trying to see that heal beam and say to his team, hey, the heals are coming A, and we need to rotate. And actually, it looks like they're going to go for a drop-down play.
Yeah, they kind of have to. I mean, Stingen was there sniping, Uko was there, Chuper was there, Duo waiting in the wings. So this fast rotation to B is kind of, should work out fairly well here. Jorge has popped the Uber. Tercio running down hallway, trying to get a kill on Sun, the engineer. He goes down. The heavy weapons guy up top, Tusha, actually getting some pretty good work. But eventually he's going to go down. Chuper also actually coming in from behind to add some kind of last minute defense. The heavy actually still up there, eating a sandwich.
That was an interesting Uber from inVision. They just went in with the solo Pyro Uber. They just Ubered in on Tercio. They tried to go really, really deep and do as much damage as they could, but they ended up losing their players. And then actually Bankai's looking in a decent position now. 1 minute to go, but they haven't got any time. Wiethoofd with the sticky trap takes down Turnip. That is huge. No demo, and no heavy either. It's going to be difficult for them to hold down this connector.
Yeah, I think that was a little too aggressive there by the demo man Turnip. Really kind of trying to play that position completely alone. And again, that forward cap from inVision, that worked out so well because they had a lot of players supporting it. And really spread out. And we're even kind of the attempted defense of the C point. But they know that there's not going to be any real pressure there.
Yeah, at this point, 25 seconds, it's pretty much, well, it is done. There's no way. It tries to power jack over into the pit, but it just gets taken down there with the Sentry and the Uber, the defensive Uber. This is just farming for the logs now. This is basically farming simulator with hats. This is done. I mean, it takes 43 seconds, I think, something like that, to get that final cap down. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you set a fast time like that, eXtine, as a defensive team, you can play appropriately. And inVision knew they didn't need to bother about defending C. They could just stack all of their cards onto E and just chill and just wait there for Bankheist to have to go in. And when they did go in, they just dropped key players and they didn't work out for them. And first round is going to go to inVision.
Yeah, extremely brutal first set there. As you said, inVision just kind of coming in with a game plan. And that's what's fun to see about Steel. And I mentioned before, sometimes some frustrations with as a player because, you can imagine inVision crew are feeling really good about how that push worked out on E. And you can also imagine that Bankheist, they're going to feel like they were the ones that were just kind of robbed, just kind of, inside job style. You don't know how they got in so easily, it's just driving you mad, So they were put in a really tough spot there defensively, put themselves in an even tougher spot offensively. They certainly have to figure it out here. At least they're going to be able to start things on the offense. And, they can kind of be a clean slate. They can easily win this round, this set, and put them in a good spot for having to play defense first again.
Yeah, I mean, this time around, sometimes you can see the fast already up. These teams just want to get on with it, and I think Bankheist just want to say, hey, that round went wrong. Let's just forget about it. Looking at these stickies on the defense here, Wiethoofd putting him in the A connector leading to White Room. And I remember a certain player called Eames who managed to get a 6k, including a medic drop and a sentry drop, if you want to call it that, against Failer when he did that strat. So you'd think that maybe Turnip and Layla would have remembered this and it won't fall for it again, but we'll see. But I mean, starting on the offense, it does give you a lot of options. It's like, being up the first to bat, you set the tone, you set the pace, and then, I think inVision will definitely be riding this high on the morale. You got to be careful that you don't get cocky in a situation like this and start to think, hey, we've already got this in the bag, that was easy, and then the enemy team does a really fast attacking round.
Yeah, certainly. And as I mentioned as well, as a player, kind of a love-hate relationship, as a caster, kind of a love-hate relationship. You get these first sets, and then the game just turns out super surprisingly here. I mean, Bankheist, they could easily get a quick offense and then hold on the defense themselves. Steel, a very exciting map. And right now, things just getting rolling, but no mistakes so far, right?
Yeah, nothing so far. I mean, it's very just kind of calm. This is such a weird moment in TF2, that first sort of moment on Steel where the defensive team just sits there and waits, and the crit stickies Tier 2 gets Sketties and Catman. Not a drop, not a demo kill, but it is huge. And that's going to really slow down any sort of pressure onto E that Bankheist might have wanted to get early on.
Yeah, it also kind of stops the drop down push, or at least slows it down. It does look like they're still kind of committed to this A push. Trooper just sitting in the corner as well. Decloaked at a perfect time, but no, can't get the stab in. Nice attempt by him. I like the aggressiveness of that decloak.
Yeah, they want to go for this E-push again, and Turnip's actually going through to the sewer area, and he's going to rotate around onto C. I think Wiethoofd knows this, and he's going to, yeah, he's predicted it already. Wiethoofd with a huge brain, and Dwo gets the drop onto Layla, so kind of calamitous there. Turnip trying to, you know, leave his medic and run around and try to flank, and Wiethoofd was all too wise, so he does die eventually to Mex, but that's the push stunted, and Jorge still has 100% Uber.
Yeah, Duo doing work, tracks down Lucian, and also gets a teleporter that was cheekily put up there. Dreamy kind of bouncing away, and again, that's just Duo doing a lot of work defending this E point as Catman gets taken out, combined fire from the Pyro and the Scout. Scout now fighting the aggressive Engineer in White Room. He's trying to get the sentry gun up, but with, again, Duo rolling in, not going to be able to do so.
Duo is like one of my picks for, you know, one of the players of the season. Honestly, he does so much work on Soldier for his team. It's a class where it's hard to sort of really stand out and be the best, but he does so many important plays. And you think if he's stopped the NG from building aggressively in E both rounds, and he's done it again there, and he's just doing so much work with Uka on the flank that it's really hard for Bankheist to do anything, which you see they're rotating over to B now and trying to get some high ground. They're just approaching the Uber, but they've lost Dreamy, they lost Skettis, they lost Mex, they've lost a lot of people here. Yeah, they get Ubered on from behind. So inVision go through main on B behind, while Bankheist are on the high ground on B, but they don't have Uber yet, and inVision know that. They've been counting the Ubers, and they just go, hey, let's just Uber in behind them and kill them all. And then Layla dies at around 90%. So they're just back to square one again, and still, you take a look at it, E hasn't been touched, and B is still looking strong as we, you know, in the first 20 seconds.
Yeah, Trooper has complete eyes on the A connector as well. So sees that it's just kind of a scout soldier over there, so they can kind of maintain their focus on B here. Right now, Wiethoofd does get stabbed down by 20 grams. Which is a pretty nice pick off there. Tercio will clean that up. But also over on the backside, Trooper did get cleaned up eventually. Stingin trying to sneak his way out here and get some defensive snipes out to protect the E point. B defense still going strong as Jorge's Uber was used. Layla at 90% again, but backed up all the way in the spawn here, waiting for some respawns.
Yeah, the difference now though is there actually is some flank play going on. Dreamy's got the cap down about half. Wiethoofd has to come out from the B side spawn door in order to get some pressure. Actually, Mex is hiding around the corner, gets the kill onto Stinghan. So Uka and Dwo are back in action now and are kind of holding down E, but no, he moves into the pit. And look at Layla, she has 100% Uber on E with Catman, so they're looking to go for an E push here. They want to go for this final cap.
Yeah, they lost a fair amount of the capture time that they'd already built up. Oh no, Skettis slips down, the pin is hungry today. Oh, there goes Layla as well. The air blast from Tercio. Tercio gets backstabbed 20 grams with a double there. And the cap pressure does continue. We do have the teleporter with Lucian getting a snipe on Duo, so the stalwart defender of E taken down for the defense. Only a few players up. Jorge 90%. A sap has come in from Trooper on the sentry gun.
But Jorge gets body shot there by Lucian. He's watching the spawn door through the window, and Dreamy's just stood on the point the entire time. 4 minutes 50 is probably slightly faster than, you know, an average time. So, you know, it's not the fastest time. It's not what we saw earlier. It's still, you know, 2.5 minutes slower than that. But that is actually a relatively fast time. And Dreamy definitely has to take majority of the credit there. I mean, I'm not sure what people were trying to do with that Uber exchange. They had an Uber advantage. And, I mean, this is rule 1 on Steel, eXtine. I mean, I'm sure you know this as well. In BC Connector, you don't Uber in when there's a Pyro there, because the Pyro can push you into the pit and you'll die. But despite all of that was going on, despite his teammates falling around him, Sun managed to get a sentry up, and Dreamy was the one getting the pressure on the E point and wasn't contested. So, you know, very well played by them just to go to the E side, and now inVision are the ones under pressure.
Yeah, certainly a pretty crazy series of events there. A different attempt at that E push You know, kind of the circumstances did lead up to being a little bit later as the B push got delayed. We'll see what the offensive version of inVision can get done here.
Big first pick though onto Sketis from Stingan, so no Pyro for the defense. It might prompt inVision just to go. It looks like they want to come in here with a lot of their players. Just, I don't know, get the kill onto Catman. He's causing him a lot of trouble on the high ground. He's very weak, has to drop down to safety. So I think that's a job done from inVision. They didn't lose any players for it either.
Yeah, so it's just fine right now. Tercio's creeping his way up the stairs on the Pyro. Catman's up there. Cheaper will get taken out. So this defense hold still doing just fine. Catman looking for an arrow and is going to drop down. Teleporter is there, so he might... Nope, got taken out.
Yeah, just like, no, they want that teleporter gone. They don't want to heavy up on that high ground anymore. And Oka again using that bonk just to take the attention of the sentry. Make people looking in a different area. Chupa comes in for the sap, drops down on the sentry, also gets the backstab
nice.
onto Sketis. Combination means Ito is able to take down both the sentry and Catman, so heavy down too. Ubers haven't been traded, but it does look like Bankheist want to back up here. They don't fancy fighting this. They have Uber still. They want to hold on to it potentially for the fight on next point.
Yeah, D-Toad gets sniped down here, but there's not really a good Uber target. Just the demo man, and against, you know, such a huge swarm of Highlander players, a single demo Uber doesn't quite feel enough. You know, you need a little bit more offense in there to make sure that you're actually fragging players, not just unloading your explosive arsenal. Right now the BC connector is being held on to as the gates into C are dropping. D-Toad rotating over while Chuper, meant the other demo men there. Turnip rotating over while Chuper getting in position behind them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just under 3 minutes to go. This is still a decent amount of time, but it's not that much time when you consider, 40 seconds it takes to capture that final point. Turnip does get backstabbed by Chupa.
Nice supercharge from Tercio. They're trying to push the Pyro into that BC hallway. They got air blasted back, though. We'll be able to clean up Catman, though. Jorge now being able to reconnect with his players. Tercio has wrapped back up here, so actually a lot of really good frags here. They are going to continue to just kind of push linearly here. They do get a little bit of pressure on E by Utka. Utka jumping around on pit. We'll have to back up a little bit there. Dreamy is there on the side, so C will get captured. But the presence on E has been cleared up. Just a level 1 sentry gun being built up top by the defense.
That was a huge play from Tuka and from Utka there. Tuka coming in from the cliff, dropping out behind the team, and Utka just using that distraction to come in and clean up, the entire combo. So really well played by them. And because of the fact that Layla died during that exchange, 90% in the hands of Jorge means there's a big Uber advantage, and Lucian goes down. That's potential sort of drop material out of the question. And Bankheist losing a few players here, so Jorge can get some cap time. Oh, he might get dropped by 20 grams. He just comes in from the connector, takes him down, and that means no Uber for inVision, and this could be an opportunity for Bankheist to block.
Well, yeah, that was an absolutely huge backstab there, as Bankheist still kind of struggling to get their counter push together, their retake, as it were, as they're holding on to White Room, but reinforcements are going to flood in here. Utka and Jorge trying to push through. And actually the cap really hasn't progressed all that well. Doom was on it, but he has to flee out. And he can chase down by Dreamy, and Tuja up top will go down as Nex does survive. But it is the repush through from White Room. Really big pressure on the point. Nobody left alive here for Bankheist. And it does look like inVision Crew probably going to be able to get this. Just 2 players respawning here.
Some great plays there eXtine. We saw the Uber come in, and Doom runs away, and there's like a scout chasing him with a flash of the Uber and a Pyro, and Doom just stands his ground. This engineer who's known for his insane DM, and he goes pow, takes the meat shot onto the Pyro, and the scout runs away. And that is going to be a quick 2-0 for inVision. I mean, that repush there, despite having no Uber, getting Ubered on, everyone just scattered, and the timing, Utka come in again, Utka cleaning up the players that were weak after the Uber, and Dito just plunging out so much damage. Really well played, and Doom, I was talking about Sun doing a great job in getting that sentry up into heaven on the attack and making sure the reinforcements going. But like you said, Doom sat on that point alone, just made sure that he was a presence to be dealt with. He was stood there, he had a sentry, and people didn't want to take a 1v1 with him because he's there and he's saying, come on, fight me, try to block this cap. And inVision looking very, very strong on this map.
Yeah, very dominant. I mean, the 250 cap time and then about the 4-minute cap time on the second set. The defense, certainly on the second hold, maybe some things to look at there. They're probably gonna be a little bit disappointed with the 450, but at the same time, it's whatever at the end of the day since they just kind of busted through them. Stingen also throwing out a little bit of salt at the end of that game. Learn to play, he says.
But a BM going on. I mean, these two teams will be facing against each other, I think, either next week or the week after. So that does mean inVision will sort of just leapfrog Bankheist there and be the second seed in the playoffs. So it'll be inVision versus Bankheist. inVision will have the map pick advantage going into that best of 3 maps. And the winner of that semi-final will go on to play STCK in the